guys, in the attempt to ever be providing more content more often, this morning, as you can tell from the title, we are going to talk about Sebenza and stuff like that. But first, I know that there's been a few of you guys who said you wanted to get me a new tripod. Here's the tripod is out there. The problem is one of the legs, as you can see how it's canted over, one of the legs is wonky. I think I've got it fixed. You guys don't need to provide like a tripod for the channel or something like that. I would much rather that money gets spent on shipping me something for sharpening or doing something good for somebody. I don't really need a new tripod. The tripod out there will work for what I'm using. And the fact is that I have this. So a lot of my tabletop stuff I'm gonna start doing in here in the house because, to tell you the truth, the lighting is better. I don't get weird shadows and shit. So don't worry about getting me a tripod, guys. If I need a tripod, that one out there was like 17 bucks and it's lasted almost 3 years. I think it'll be okay. I do appreciate the gesture. I truly appreciate it. So as you guys saw, like I said, we are gonna talk about the Sebenza. So this might be a little bit longer video. I'm gonna try and load this up and have it up. I do have things I gotta do. So this is probably gonna be a 5 o'clock premiere today. I have errands I have got to run. I have things that I have to do, but we are going to get this. There's a couple things we're going to talk about. So, and like I said, this is kind of rebuttal to my own video about, you know, when I called out some of the problems with it, because over time I've learned that sometimes those little aesthetic things, now that I make knives, I'm hypercritical about certain things that I know that as an amateur knife maker, I get right. That I see professional knife makers and professional knife making companies get wrong. But then there's stuff that I see myself doing, that I see in other knives. I'm like, yeah, I can see how it happens. And so I just kind of wanted to go back, and even though I am hypercritical on a lot of stuff, I want to talk about this. So like I've said before, this knife is the epitome of simple elegance, simplicity being elegant. The lines on this knife have been part of the knife world and things that people love for years. And it's because there was a lot of thought put into it. So one of the things we're gonna talk about, and I'm gonna shoot a video of it because I shot it the other day and then I somehow screwed it up, is how easy really the maintenance on this knife is. And like I said, part of the thought out thing. But from everything to having a hollow grind that is hollow and narrower behind the actual edge, so as you sharpen it, you don't have to do as much reprofiling. To the materials used, the way they're treated, things like that. Now, I, as a professional knife sharpener, can get away with if this was harder. So the first thing I was gonna say is I've complained about the hardness of the steel. And then I went back and I thought about the reason why. And if you watch videos of Chris Reeve talking about it, when he still ran the company, and I imagine Tim's got the same thought process, and Ann, I'm not gonna make fun of Ann, they actually have kept that company at a standard that when I saw their stuff in Las Vegas, that I'm not gonna mock and joke about the whole Reeves Knives things. There may have been some transition period, but I'm pretty sure that that's past. That was some growing pains. The steel on this knife is treated a little softer than a lot of other knives in the same steel. But what that allows you to do is you've got some ease of maintenance on the job. If you're on a job site and you're using this knife and it gets a little dull, you just grab a piece of cardboard, take your belt off, and you can strop it back to a pretty keen edge fairly easily. If you've got a knife that's in 20 CV, yeah, you can strop it a little bit, but you're not gonna be able to maintain that as easily in the field, on a job site or things like that. I've said that the pocket clip on the Sebenza is the most perfect pocket clip pretty much I've come across in knives. And it's a simple wire clip design. It's got a good bit of tension, but it doesn't stand up proud. It's curved, and it's got like a secondary bend in here that just gives it the right shape, well, for my hands anyway. All the chamfering, all that. The crown spine, now that would be something that, like, as an outdoorsman, I think that I would have wanted more of a flat spine, something with a sharper corner for maybe doing ferrule rods, but you do have jimping. So if you're carrying this in the field, you've got a spot that would probably work really well on your ferrule rod. The hollow grind, allows you to resharpen it and resharpen it and resharpen it before you start. You would basically wear this blade down to a nub before you got to a point where that thickening that you get on some other knives. And that's one of the nice things about hollow grind. It's got some good cutting potential. It's not too deep of a hollow, but it is just enough to allow you to not really have to worry about the reprofiling that the blade's starting to get thick. The last thing is just the simple fact that it is so easy to take apart. You need one tool. One tool. That's it. And they provide you that tool. So you don't even have to take it all the way apart to clean it. So that's the key. Those are the things about this knife. And like I said, this one has a minor spot where you can see where the hollow on the exit of the grind is not quite as consistent as some of the older ones. But every once in a while, just like Tim says, 1,500 knives a month, 12 months a year, there's going to be a couple that get out there. But like I said, he was willing to take this knife back. I don't need that. It's an aesthetic piece. It's just a little thing that bothered me at first, but having had this now for 2.5 years, I think I got this as a replacement for the one I sold that was beat up. I don't even really pay attention to it anymore. So I still do carry my Sebenza, and I carry it on days that I know there's going to have to be a lot of cutting done, something I know that's going to fill my hand comfortably, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's the other thing. I've cut with a lot of knives that don't quite have that same feeling in hand. This is one of them that does. A lot of Elliott's knives. They're designed around working and using it and not tiring yourself out. A thinner knife, a knife that you're going to have to hold on to, like trying to pull a thinner line, you're going to wear your hands out. You're going to get tired of it. It's going to hurt your hands. This does not. So those are all the things that I think just the fact that the action on it is so precise. I've dialed mine in. Mine's been dialed in. Once you get one of these good and broken in, holy crap, guys, that actor it's flawless. And it's titanium on steel, but you don't get lock stick unless you're really trying to snap it open, which you don't need to with one of these. And you wind up pushing that lock bar goes over further and it starts to mar and it starts to deform. But usually what causes lock stick in these is you get a little bit of grease on the lock bar. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna turn this around and we're gonna take it apart and I'm gonna show you how you maintenance one of these. So just stand by, we'll get it turned around and I'm gonna show you how I do it and how easy it is, because this is at 6 minutes and I don't think the maintenance on this is gonna run this past very, very long. So I will, I'll get some paper towels put down, I'll get my stuff and we'll turn around and do this. So guys, we're doing this from a different angle just because it's a little easier so that you guys can see. So what you need is a 5/64 Allen wrench or driver bit. And let me see here. I think I need to get in on it a little closer. So the only thing I ever do, unless I know that I need to just take the entire thing apart and clean it, is I take the pivot screw out and I just take out the blade. Let me show you how I do it. So it's as simple as take that pivot. Let me get a good angle on it for you. Where am I at here? There we go. I screw it out, and let me zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. What I do is I let the screw push the pivot out as I'm doing it. Can you guys see that? See how the pivot starts to come out? And you just let it do it on its own. Drop it down. I think I might have to change the camera angle for you guys. I let it slide it. There we go. Pull out the pivot, and there's the screw. Now, the only other thing you've got to do at this point is really, you start to open that, and just pull the blade out. There we go. So now I have both of my washers. And my pivot bushing all together. See? Now, drop that one off and pull this one off. So I tip them up so that the side that faces the blade is up on both of those washers. And then I just simply wipe off any excess grease. Let me wipe this here. Grease and nastiness on my pivot bushing. And then I just will wipe these, making sure that I make sure to put that side back up. Same thing, wipe that side, put it back up. Now, this knife is relatively clean. I just did this the other day. So I don't really need to get any rubbing alcohol or anything in on the action to do any cleanup, really. It's pretty well clean. Now, I do not use the fluorinated grease that they send, but you can if you want. So one of the things that you want to look at real close is down in here. Let me see if I can get it for you. Down in here, you want to make sure that you take a good close look at the front of your lock face and make sure there's no grease and shit sitting on your lock bar, on the face of the lock. So, I know there's not because I just cleaned it up the other day. So the only thing I need to do is re-grease this right now because I've done my cleanup, but like that's simply that quick. I take a toothpick, I use my TW25 Bravo, I take a toothpick, and I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this pivot bushing. I'm doing it off screen, sorry. Just a little bit, you don't need much, just the tiniest little bit, see? Just a slight coating. I'm gonna put that back through because that's how I'm gonna know. Let me see here. I'm gonna turn this around so I can make sure I'm showing you exactly what I wanna show you. I really don't know how Nick Shabazz does this from behind a camera. So anyway, like I said, I've put a little bit of grease on my pivot bushing. Let's get you in focus. I've put a little bit of grease on my pivot bushing. I'm gonna leave that little bit of grease that has escaped on that, but where I don't want it is here. I don't want it here where my blade locks up, right? On that lock interface right there. I don't want any grease there. So I'll set that down because it's all lubed. And we're gonna start with the big washer. Now, the thing is, you gotta make sure you put your big washer where the big washer goes, and your little washer where your little washer goes. Brand new, you might get confused, but you can always remember that the side that has the detent track, the line that has been smoothed out by the detent, that's where the small bushing goes. But you can see it on here that there is a large wear pattern, a small wear pattern, that's where those go. So I'm gonna do my large bushing first, my large washer first. So I pick it up, I make sure I put it down with the side that goes down. I've already got a little bit of grease on there, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my toothpick and I'm gonna put a little bit more right there. It's about all you need. You don't need that much actually. You can just take some of that off. Now what I'm doing is I'm getting it down in some of those holes. I'm gonna flip over my other one. I'm gonna put it down and I'm gonna kind of do the same thing. Just a little bit, and then I'm gonna wipe it across so I get it packed in those holes. Now I do wanna get a little bit, I'm gonna put a little bit right there where the detent's gonna drop in. And I check and make sure I didn't get any on my interface. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squeeze these washers and that bushing together and make sure they're perfectly flat. I'm not gonna let go. I'm gonna take this blade. Well, I am gonna let go because I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna take this blade with both the washers. I'm gonna make sure that they're nice and centered, and I'm just gonna release on this lock bar. I'm gonna line those in, and I'm just gonna slide it in, right like that. Now, you can leave it sit like that for a second, and then you just reach down, you grab your pivot screw. Now, you can do it either way, but I like my pivot screw and everything on most knives to come up through the lock scale side. It's just easier for me. So then you just kind of get it started, and you pull out on your lock bar, and you just pop it through. So you just lean out your lock bar just ever so slightly to take the tension off of it, and then that pivot screw, that pivot will just go right through. Put your screw in, and you just tighten it till it stops. Move it, slide it a few times, make sure you're getting that grease worked around. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, that is smooth, way smooth now compared to what it was when I did it the other day. It was really gritty. guys, that's it. That's all you have to do on this. And then if you did get a little bit of excess grease on a couple things, just wipe it off. If there's too much grease, the nice thing is there's enough room in there. If you did happen to get a little bit of grease on that lock face and lock bar face and the interface, it's not that big a deal. You just take a small Q-tip or take a toothpick and wrap a little bit of cotton around it and take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just wipe those surfaces off. You got plenty of room to work with that in there. And that should keep you, if you do it right, you should not get lock stick. You shouldn't have any problems with, I will tell you though, try to make sure that your screws will gall against the titanium and stay locked in once you get it tight like it's supposed to be, unless you get a little bit of grease on them. So I always then, just as a secondary measure, make sure that it's galling and it's like got some stick to it. And that tightening it down like that is not gonna affect, the tolerance in this was built to have it be that tight, but it's not gonna affect the action. So just, like I said, guys, I rewatched the video that I know Tim watched, and I felt bad. I felt bad because I called into question a company that has put a premium on doing it right. So just wanted to do that. Now, the other thing, guys, is the weather is bad. So I will try to do some sharpening later today. But like I said, I have a lot of stuff that just came. My wife's got a problem with her car. Her car is here. I'm driving her car over to get it worked on. It has to go into the garage today. Made an appointment. They said it's the issue we're having is a warranty issue and it's a recall issue. So they're like, we don't know why. I got a recall about airbags, but this is a software issue that we're starting to have, and it's related to the maintenance. So the maintenance light comes on and you start having this problem. The car jitters. It's a hybrid, so there's something in the electrical system that is initiated when you get to a certain point and the maintenance light and stuff comes on. And I'd noticed it before, and then when we'd clear the maintenance light, we didn't have a problem. But there's apparently a recall on that. So we're gonna take it over. They're gonna do the recall work and put the new programming in. So not a big deal. But guys, you can't get any simpler, any easier than that. Somebody said, oh, that's the way Emerson does it. No, I took apart a couple Emersons yesterday. Nowhere near as easy or fun. And I had to find a screw because one of the screws stripped. There was barely any screw touching into the standoff. So, but luckily I had the same screws. So nice. And that's it, guys. That's it. That's my Sebenza revisited. But like I said, an aesthetic issue like they had on this, not a big deal. Not a big deal in the fact that they were willing to take it back. They were willing to call me and talk to me about it. I think that's pretty cool. And it shows, like, the same thing with me. Like, I've had people ask, can you just do this and then not refinish the spot so that I don't have to pay the refinish on a blade? Like, somebody wanted a choil cut in on a knife here not too long ago, and they were like, well, how much is it for this and this and this? And then when we got to talking about the price, they were like, well, how about we just cut the choil and then just not finish? And I was like, no, I can't do that. And it's not about making money. It is 100% about future money and not wanting to let things leave that I don't think meet my criteria of what I want it to look like. Because when somebody gets a knife that I've refinished or done some minor modifications to, if they don't know that that's the way the customer requested, that just be left shiny with the grind marks as opposed to the blast and tumble finish the rest of the knife has, they're just gonna look at it and go, dude, that guy fucking sucks. He didn't even make it match. That's why. So I 100% understand where they're coming from. So guys, you guys take it easy. Take care of yourselves. The weekend's coming up. My friend Pip is gonna be in town. He's on his way now, I think. And then I think he and I are gonna go tomorrow. We'll be at the forge. I got grinding to do. There's order of neck knives, but I'll try and get some more videos up. I have half-face knives here from Chris Kelly, and I just haven't figured out how I want to do the video on that yet. And so I'm gonna get those done, and you guys are gonna see a video on that. So that's it. Like I said, just trying to keep content up. I don't have much to work on now right now because I set the day aside for myself. I got everything pretty much done this week. So today is the day that I've got to go here in a few minutes, get the wife's car over to the garage. So you guys take it easy. I don't know what time this video is going to go up. It'll probably be a premiere. Likelihood is probably around 5 p.m. So if you're watching it now, I'll probably do a quick live feed and let you guys know what time that video is coming up. Guys, take it easy. Take care of yourselves. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but let me know why. Patreon link is always going to be down, well, unless I'm standing where I'm blocking stuff. It's going to be in this corner, subscription link, and a link to a video that YouTube thinks you would like. And if you want to support my daughter's ice skating, as always, the GoFundMe link will be down in the description below. That's it. I got to go. You guys take it easy. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.